I'm Ed Ranelli. I'm Dean of the College of Business at the University of West Florida. And on behalf of the faculty and staff of the University of West Florida, particularly the faculty and staff of the College of Business, I want to welcome all of you to our lovely building. We're quite proud of this and welcome you to the graduation ceremonies for our German MBA students. And I want to congratulate each and every one of you on successful completion of your degrees. This is a great event. We are delighted to have these ceremonies here today. As you know, it's been 10 years since Tim and I and other faculty from the University of West Florida first visited Mannheim and Ludwigshafen in Germany. And during that visit, we finalized, only 10 years ago, the International Education Cooperation with the Transatlantic Institute, an international educational institute that is sponsored jointly by the University of Applied Science at Ludwigshafen and Worms. And we're gathered here today to celebrate the 8th graduating class in that cooperative relationship. This agreement made it possible for the University of West Florida, and we are an ASCSB accredited institution, and as you know, ASC is the premier international accrediting body for colleges of businesses. And as you may know, we recently got reaffirmed in April of this year, and we're quite proud of that. Every 5 years, we go through this process to assure that our faculty qualifications, our curriculum, and the strategic planning conforms to the high standards of management education, and that we have a process in place for continuous quality improvement. And we are honored here to celebrate, to dedicate and to celebrate the hard work of all of you that have completed your MBA degree. At this time, I would like to introduce the other members of our party who will participate in our ceremonies. And closest to me, we have our guest speaker, Pam Bilbrey, who I will introduce again shortly. Next is Professor Dr. Gerhard Raab, Executive Director of the Transatlantic Institute and Professor of Marketing and Management at the University of Applied Science in Ludwigshafen. And by the way, a great friend over the course of the last 10 years. And of course, all of you know Tim O'Keefe, Associate Dean and Director of the Graduate Program of the College of Business. So please be seated, and we'll proceed with the introductions. It gives me great pleasure to introduce a UWF MBA alumni and a good friend of the University of West Florida and the College of Business, Pam Bilbrey. Pam Bilbrey is a nationally recognized thought leader and management consultant and author. She has led cultural transformations in healthcare organizations throughout the United States, Canada, and Europe, and more than 15,000 leaders in healthcare have participated in her workshops. Her passion to inspire and empower people, teams, and organizations to achieve their greatness, and she's been very successful in those endeavors. She has over 50 published articles on organizational health and leadership development. She is the author of 3 books, Breakout, Unleash the Power of Human Capital, Reflections on Leadership, and Ordinary Greatness. It's where you least expect it, everywhere. Pam has 25 years in senior executive positions. She has served on the University of West Florida Board of Trustees and on the Florida Board of Governors, which oversees the state university system here in Florida. In 2007, Pam received the Individual Professional Excellence Award from the Society of Healthcare Strategy and Management Development and was named one of the top 100 people in leadership development by the Executive Excellence publication in 2008. She holds a master's degree in psychology, and as I indicated, she also holds an MBA degree from the University of West Florida and is one of our distinguished alumni, and it's my pleasure to welcome Pam Bilbrey to speak to us today. Pam?
Good afternoon, everyone. It is certainly my honor to be here and have an opportunity to share a few words with you. I'm particularly proud as a UWF alum. You know, my education, my MBA from UWF has prepared me well. I've had so many amazing opportunities in my career. You know, I've been a leader that's had an opportunity to start up a number of businesses. I've had the opportunity to dismantle a couple of businesses along the way. I have been a leader that has followed what others have started, and I've been a leader that has brought change and innovation to organizations that I've had the pleasure to work for. I've had a wide range of opportunities, much like I know our graduates have had already in their careers. I've been the youngest by 15 years of an executive team. I've been the only non-PhD on an executive team, and I've been the only female on an executive team in the 100-year history of an organization. And as I said, UWF prepared me well to handle all of these situations. I've had a great deal of success in my career, and I've also had my share of failures or missteps. But you know, with each one, whether a failure or a grand success, I've learned something along the way that has made me a better individual and a better professional. So I thought in our short time together today, I would share with you one of the lessons I have learned along the way, an unexpected lesson that occurred April 8th, 2007 in the Atlanta airport. Now, I'm assuming most of you have been to the Atlanta airport at some time or another. Particularly anybody that comes through Pensacola has to spend a little bit of time in the Atlanta airport. So this was a Sunday afternoon, and a colleague and I were traveling to New Jersey in preparation for a Monday morning meeting with a client. And going to Atlanta, you can count on one thing. You know what that is? A delay, right? A delay. And so it was that Sunday afternoon that there was a 2-hour delay in our flight. And so my colleague Brian said, you know what, I'm going to go down and find a couple of newspapers so I'll have something to read in our wait time. And I said, all right, I'll come with you because I need to catch up on my reading also. So while he went in search of the Washington Post, the New York Times, I was looking for the latest issue of People magazine. We both got what we wanted. We ended back at the concourse and sat there reading. And all of a sudden, Brian goes, awesome! This is so awesome! And I'm thinking, he's reading the newspaper. What could be that awesome in the newspaper? But he goes, you have got to read this. This is so incredible. And he shoved a copy of the Washington Post in my face and said, read this article. And as I read this article, I got chill bumps. Because just as the article had spoken to Brian and had significance for Brian, it had significance for me. And so I wanted to read just a short summary of that article today and share that with you. The article is entitled Pearls Before Breakfast. One of the world's premier violinists, Joshua Bell, had performed in such illustrious settings as London's Royal Albert Hall, the Verviers Festival in Switzerland, and Carnegie Hall. He had toured with such acclaimed groups as the Orchestre National de France, the Salzburg Orchestra, and the Tonhalle Orchestra. But he had never, ever, ever done a gig in the metro station in Washington, D.C. And as it turns out, his performance there on Friday, January 23rd, 2007, went mostly unnoticed. Yes, amazingly unnoticed. 3 days prior, people had paid more than $100 for the less than good seats to hear him play in Boston Symphony Hall. Several weeks later, he would be acclaimed the world's best classical violinist. But that chilly day at the metro station, he was incognito. He was unadvertised and unknown. He appeared to be just another street musician hoping to get enough money thrown in his violin case to pay for his next meal. So what was this world-renowned musician doing in the metro station? Well, the Washington Post had set up a fascinating project. The reporter Gene Weinberg, who would later describe it in his Pulitzer Prize-winning article, an experiment in context, perception, and priorities, as well as an unblinkingly assessment of public taste in a banal setting, in an inconvenient time would beauty transcend. Now, granted, Bell entered the station during the morning rush hour. It was a Monday morning. He was totally nondescript. He wore jeans, long-sleeve t-shirt, and wore a Washington National ball cap. He positioned himself against the wall near the top of the escalator, and he drew out his personal instrument from its case, an 18th century Stradivarius. Placing it beneath his chin, he commenced to play some of the most emotionally powerful music. And it filled the air. For 45 minutes, people passed by. In fact, 1,097 people passed by with hardly a glance. He was noticed by just a few, and he did get a few coins thrown into his open violin case, $32 to be exact. And he found that through all of that 45 minutes, there were only 7 people that paused for just a couple of seconds to listen to this amazing music that Joshua Bell was playing. It was interesting because they were videotaping this, and what they found, however, is that every single time a child was with a parent walking by, the child stopped and tried to get the parent to stop and listen. But of course, the parents were in a hurry, in a rush. They had to get through that turnstile to catch the train, so they dragged the children along. The experiment by the Washington Post revealed that magnificent art is transcended in ordinary circumstances. Or as Weinberg put it, Bell's performance was art without a frame. And because of that, it went largely unnoticed. So you may be thinking, well, what does that have to do with leadership? Well, in my opinion, everything. Because what excited Brian and I so much that Sunday afternoon, sitting in the Atlanta airport, having read this article, was that we could see this same circumstance happening in virtually every organization we had an opportunity to visit and consult with. Because you see, every organization in the last 10, 15 years of consulting who has asked us to come in and help them be better, help them be the best, to realize their potential, didn't really need us. Everything that each of the organizations needed to be great was already there in the workforce. However, it went unnoticed. And that, my friends, is a failure of leadership. So as I think about any slight bit of advice I could offer you today, I think it would be to stop and take the time, open your eyes to see the greatness that already exists before us in the little things. Because, you know, this conversation that Brian and I started in the Atlanta airport didn't stop there. We became so fascinated with this concept and this story of Joshua Bell that we put our thoughts together over time and were able to publish a book called Ordinary Greatness. It's Where You Least Expect It. And it's a book on leadership and how we as leaders have a responsibility to recognize, to celebrate, and promote greatness. Not only the greatness that comes from spectacular events, from once-in-a-lifetime occurrences, but the greatness of every day. The things that people are doing in organizations that's phenomenal, but it gets little to no attention. Because you see, as we put this together, we spent some time gathering comments from people. We interviewed, just over 300 people. And we would ask them the question, who are the first 3 people that come to mind for you that you think have possessed greatness. And it was interesting, there were all sorts of themes that came up, themes around religious leaders, historical figures, movie stars, sports figures, renowned business people, those individuals that for whatever reason are larger than life, whose names, when we say them, people would recognize. And as we asked the question, it was so easy for people to roll those names off their tongues. It just came naturally. But we followed up with a second question. And the second question was this: name 3 people that you know that have impacted your life that you think have possessed greatness. There was a lot of hesitation. And it really required us to prompt people to respond to that question. Because after they started thinking about it, they would say, oh yeah, my mom, my dad, my professor, my mentor, a colleague, a friend. But it was only after stopping to contemplate that they could respond in that way. Because again, the concept of greatness is one that we think of spectacular things. And we tend to overlook the day-to-day amazing work, the traits, the characteristics, the skills, the events that happen all around us. And when we do, we miss an opportunity. We miss an opportunity as leaders to recognize it, to celebrate it, to promote it, to help grow the greatness that exists within each of us. Because, you know, this idea of ordinary greatness, it's everywhere. It's common circumstances that are just waiting to inspire us and motivate us if we have our eyes open. You know, one of the interviewees that we talked to had a wonderful statement, and she said this. She says, you know, I define this thing, ordinary greatness that you're talking about, not by things done in the spotlight, but by what is done in quiet, seemingly insignificant moments when the world is not looking. So as you continue to move forward in your leadership journeys, don't let the blinders of personal bias, the tendency that we all have to compartmentalize people, your busyness, to exclude you from the ordinary greatness that's all around you. Remember that it comes in unexpected places, in unexpected ways. The lessons that are there for us to learn not only come from the individual in the corner suite with the big windows, but from the individual, perhaps, that is providing lunch for us. So be aware of that. You know, I have a good friend, a very, very dear friend from Tennessee, and he loved to tell stories. And he told me this story once about this young couple. And this young couple was expecting their first child. And they lived up in the hills of Tennessee, where it was very remote and there wasn't electricity. And so as they were expecting their first child, the day was getting closer, and all of a sudden, it was the day, and the husband called the country doctor and says, come quick, I think it's time. So the country doctor found the home, came up to the home, realized there wasn't electricity, and said to the young man, you're going to need to find a lantern and hold it up so I can see as I assist with the birth. And so the young man found a lantern, lit it, and stood beside the bed, beside the doctor, holding the lantern up so the doctor could see. And before long, you heard a noise, a wah, wah. And the doctor looked to the young man, he said, congratulations, you have a beautiful baby boy. And so excited, this young man put the lantern down and went to reach out his arms to hold his new son. And all of a sudden the doctor says, wait, hold the light up, hold the light up. He holds it back up, and you hear another, wah, wah. And he says, oh my goodness, you are the proud father of twin boys. Now this was totally unexpected. This young father was beside himself with joy and a little scared about the whole situation, and bent down to put the lantern on the floor. And what do you think happened? The doctor said, "I need the light, I need the light." He holds it up, and all of a sudden he realizes he has not only 2 sons, but a daughter. So befuddled was this young gentleman with this turn of events in his life that he looked at the doctor and said, "Well, Doc, do you think it's the light that's attracting them?" Could be. But I want you to think about the light, because as you go forward in the next chapter of your career, I want to encourage you to be open to the greatness that surrounds you. I would advise you to go into each and every day ready to provide that spark, that illumination that becomes the light that makes others shine, that brings out the greatness in each and every individual. Look for it in the most uncommon of places. You will find it. Be open to the lessons that each and every individual has to share. So I wish that in your journeys you'll shine bright each and every day. You'll find not only your own personal greatness, as I'm sure you will, but you will become the kind of leaders that will do what I think is the most important leadership work of all, and that is to help others discover their greatness. So it is a pleasure to welcome you as a UWF alum, one of my colleagues, and I thank you for this opportunity to be part of your special day. And as the graduates leave today, I've left copies of my book, and I would ask that you take one. It would be my honor for you to have one today. So again, congratulations.
Well, Pam, thank you so much for your words of wisdom and sharing your experience with us. You know, one of the great things about being in academics is the chance to see our graduates become so successful. And, you know, we're extremely proud to call you a UWF MBA alum. And we certainly appreciate all the support that you've shown to UWF and to really the state system, university system. You keep on giving, and we really appreciate that. And would you join me in thanking Pam again for... Well, we're going to get to the degree ceremony before too long, okay? It's coming, I promise. But before we get to that, we want to give Professor Dr. Gerhard Raab a chance to speak to the candidates. And Gerhard, you know, is the Executive Director of Transatlantic Institute and has been involved in this program from its the idea conception and has been a great supporter through the years. And please welcome Dr. Raab.
Yeah. Dear Dean Adranelli and Associate Dean Tim O'Keefe, faculty members, families and friends, and especially dear members of the 2013 graduating MBA class. It is an honor for Katrin, Paul, and me to be with you here in Pensacola at the University of Florida in this wonderful new building. The building reflects the academic and the scientific spirit of the College of Florida, or College of Business, and we just can feel this spirit today. And I think today is an important day for all of us, but especially for you MBA candidates. It is an important day because graduation is the final step in your MBA program at the Transatlantic Institute and the College of Business. and it is an important step of your life. You know, during the last 18 months, you gained a lot of knowledge about different management topics, tools, and theories. This knowledge offers a possibility for you to see the challenges in the global world and in your company from a different perspective and in an effective way. But beside all this intellectual resource, an important part of your MBA program was to increase and to deepen your knowledge and understanding for different cultures like the United States or like other countries. And I think that's now more and more very important to get this knowledge. Without the social resource, it is just impossible to be successful in the global workplace, and it will be just impossible to build a peaceful environment around the globe. Senator Fulbright once said, educational exchange is the most important activity of all our foreign policy activities. I'm sure that your MBA program and the partnership between the College of Business at UWF and the Transatlantic Institute at the University of Ludwigshafen is one step in the direction and in the sense of Senator Fulbright we have to go in the future. You know, we have to invest in relations, we have to invest in knowledge, and maybe that's now more important than it ever was to strengthen the transatlantic dialogue and the transatlantic relations. Your knowledge, your education is an asset. It's an asset for you and it's an asset for the world. Now, the MBA program and the cooperation between the Transatlantic Institute and the College of Business is 10 years old, and you are our 8th class we will graduate today. I would like to say thank you to all the people here in Pensacola who made, you know, our friendship and this successful and cooperative program happen. And a special thank you, to Ed, Tim, and Melissa. You know, it is your spirit and your open-minded way of thinking that really is the main pillar of this partnership and program, and we are looking forward to for the next 10 years. And moreover, I would like to say to all the people who were there for you MBA candidates, your families, your friends, your colleagues, they supported you during a very hard time because of all the paperwork and case studies that have to be done to get an MBA. You know, gaining an MBA program is just impossible without the understanding and support of the people who are close to you. But to the final end, you made the game, you know, you made the game to get your MBA degree. And you made this game because, you know, of your willpower, of your motivation, and your team spirit. And today I can let you know how we called you. You know, we, that means Joachim, Katrin, and I, during our time at the Transatlantic Institute. You were our boy group, okay? You know, usually a boy group sings and dances synchronically, okay? In the MBA program, you've performed in a different way, but with an outstanding standard. All of you were excellent students, and all of you formed a great team, a great boy group. Take this treasure lifelong. Congratulations to you MBA candidates from Katrin, Joachim, and me. We are very proud of you, and we wish you the very best for your future. Enjoy this moment. Enjoy this evening by 1 or 2 glasses of wine, or maybe some more. And keep in mind, you hold the future in your hand. Thank you.
Okay, I see when I walked over there that certain people got nervous because this is not exactly in the script, but it's our great pleasure now to formally recognize the accomplishments of these candidates with a formal hooding and degree presentation ceremony. Now, all of the distinguished folks sitting up here have a part in that, and because we've got guests both here and hopefully on the web, I want to explain a little bit about what we're going to do. Okay. First of all, as a formal part of the process, I'm going to present the group to Dean Ranelli, who's the official representative. He's the official officer of the university to grant this degree at this point. I'm going to present you to him. Then Gerhard is going to ask you to come forward. You'll come forward to the table that you see over there, and Pam Bilbrey and I will hood you, and then you'll proceed to Dean Ranelli, who will give you the diploma cover, and stop there for a moment so that a picture can be taken, okay? Then proceed to Dr. Rob, who will have something for you also. So what is this hood business, okay? What do we mean by hood? Well, I mean, you see the faculty, right, and some of the folks up here wearing these fancy things. This is a traditional part of the academic regalia, okay? And it's a significant distinction between undergraduate study and graduate study. And the hood has other significance. You can tell the discipline of the person wearing the hood by the color of the border. Okay, here you see the color is brown. That's an indication, a light brown. It's an indication of business, that you've studied business. Okay, and then the back of the hood, you'll see the blue and the green, which indicate the colors of the university that awarded that degree. Blue and green, that's University of West Florida. Okay, I'm gonna start the formal process now, so you guys pay attention. Okay, it gives me great pleasure to stand before you and announce the 8th graduating class of the UWF-TI Germany MBA program. Will the candidates for the Master of Business Administration please rise? And you guys stand up. Dean Ranelli, these candidates have been approved and recommended by the faculty to receive their master's degree upon completion of all requirements.
MBA candidates, as I'll call your name, please come forward to be recognized. Dominic Coxino, Fernando dos Santos. Jonas Ebersold. Michael Geiger. Daniel Schwender. Christian Sins. Stefan Stahlmecke. Und Marc Wehrmann.
Congratulations to all of you. By the authority delegated to me by the faculty and Board of Trustees of the University of West Florida, I confer upon you the master's degree to which you are all entitled and welcome you to the ancient and honorable company of scholars. The master's graduates may now be seated. Congratulations.
Well, I mean, this is always a great moment when we finally confer the degrees and you guys have finished this 18-month journey. It's, of course, with a bit of sadness also because, you know, this was a particularly enjoyable class and it was nice interacting with you, but of course we're extremely happy that you're successfully have completed this. Now, there's something I think we need to do as a group because you you realize that there are a lot of people kind of behind what went into your success. And so I'd like to take a moment just to recognize some of those. You know, we've got very dedicated, very capable staff that work in this program, both at University of West Florida and at Transatlantic Institute. So when I call your name, would you please stand up so that we can recognize you and thank you. First, from Transatlantic Institute, Catherine Powell. Catherine is the Associate Director of Transatlantic Institute, in case our audience was not aware. Thank you, Catherine. And I think we also need to give a round of applause for Joachim von Hunius. He's not here to celebrate with us, but I'm sure he's on the web somewhere watching this right now. So, Joachim. And if he's not, we'll force him to watch the taped version later. Now, University of West Florida. First, the Assistant Director of the MBA program, Melissa Broad. Yeah, Melissa's what really makes all of this happen, and the people that help her do that, first and foremost, Carolyn Peck. Carolyn Peck is our MBA student recruiter. That's her title. But she's one of those that has a much longer real-life job description than what's actually on paper. She does so many things for us, and we really appreciate it. And not only that, she's a graduate of our MBA program. So, and then working with us in the MBA office, our own MBA students, well, actually, Masters of Accountancy students, but our graduate assistants that have really, whenever our German students are here, they're the ones that really guide them through the whole process. They're there every moment for every event. They help set up. And Julia Chesser and Vanessa Trujillo. Vanessa, you have to stand up. Well, when you think about a university, I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is students. You know, students walking and running all over the place, okay? They're, of course, to get an education, to get some learning. Well, where does that come from? So the second thing you think about, at least for me, is the professoriate, okay? Because it's the dedication of those folks that actually get the teaching process and the facilitation of the learning done. And the professors that are involved in our programs, in this particular program, are special. They love the involvement, of course, but they are very dedicated. And I know that you're aware of that from what you were telling me this morning in our exit interviews. And I'd like to just take this opportunity to thank them. First of all, the person that, if I'm remembering correctly, it was the first professor you saw in the program. It was a professor who was willing to come in on a holiday, okay? Everybody else was gone, okay? This professor, yeah, it's the German MBAs. Yeah, I'll do it. And from what you told me also, she makes statistics make sense and shows you the relevance of it. And Dr. Gail Ball. And then our students are quite familiar with the fact that this is a portfolio program. There are 5 major projects that they have to do throughout the program. And it takes an awful lot of time. And the work that came out of this group was superb, okay? Well, this particular professor is tasked with taking these new students through the very first run at a portfolio project. Okay, and that can be rewarding. It can also be a little difficult. But teaching them managerial economics is Dr. Richard Hawkins. And I think winning the award for the most organized and most detailed again goes to this accounting professor, Dr. Joe Donlin. And then another thing that you told me in the exit interviews is how much you got out of the portfolio project, where the professor made you go out into the business community and actually look at an actual business situation. And this happens regularly. It's the same kind of feedback that we get from our students here. They love being out in the business community, looking at a real issue and turning it into what amounts to a case study. Not only this, along with Mary, his wife, he throws one of the best parties while you guys are here for the capstone experience, and that's Dr. Richie Platt. And then the person that handles the capstone, the person that brings everything that you've done during the program together again and helps you tie a nice bow around it. The way some of you put it, he's the one that stamps, boom, you're an MBA on your forehead when you finish this course, this strategy course, and that's Dr. Bill Gillis. Well, indeed, Gerhard's already mentioned the hard work and perseverance that it takes to go through this program. It takes a tremendous amount of sacrifice. When you're working 50-plus hours a week, and then you've got professors that are demanding another 15, 20 hours a week. You add that up, and there's not very much time for sleep, and there's often very little time for the people that mean the most. And not only did you make sacrifices, but your family and your friends made sacrifices right along with you. And two things. I want us to recognize your family and friends. Some of you are here today. Some of you hopefully are watching via the web. But it's my pleasure to return your loved ones to you. And would you, new graduates, please help me thank your family and friends for the support and help that they've given you through this program. Well, this is really the end of the formal ceremony. As I mentioned before, though, one of the great things about being in academics is to be able to look back at your students and follow them and see the successes that come after you've maybe had some small part in developing them and molding them and preparing them for that success. I really encourage you to keep in touch with us. I mean, remember how much we want to know about you and how your career progresses, how your personal life progresses. So all the best to you as you launch from here, and do keep in touch. Now, we have a little reception here afterwards, but what I'm going to ask you to do now, I'm going to ask everyone to stand, and if you'll remain standing while the platform party and then the faculty and then the new graduates recess from the room. Thank you very much.